Amendment, I believe has been passed out. Is that
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 128, offered by Mr. Young.
Gentleman's recognized.
This is a very simple amendment. It's really does what I'd like to have done is the consideration of national security interests in the Arctic. Many of you don't realize this is the hot spot in the world today is the Arctic. This is not about Alaska. This is about national security. And what's happening with China, the activity they're doing in China, the exploration for minerals, oil, etc. They're so far ahead of us, we're not even on the same page. I have the Secretary of Defense that strongly supports the concept of a port in a northern part of Alaska or in federal lands. Admiral Robert Papp supports this, the Commandant of the Coast Guard, but we're so far behind. If we don't have an identification of a potential port, we will never be in a position to defend our shores or, in fact, look for the minerals are needed, the oil is needed, and China will move in. So all I'm asking is nothing mandatory. It is a study for the feasibility of where a deep Arctic draft port could be established, and the Secretary would consult with Homeland Security, the Secretary of Defense, and really look at this position, because right now everybody's sort of running around and not really making a decision. I'm trying to put something in this bill that the Secretary can have the ability to make a decision after consultation for an Arctic port, and it does affect all of you. I urge the passage of this amendment. I do appreciate working with the chairman and the minority area, the staff, and coming to a solution, I think, to a problem we will be facing if we don't act today on this legislation. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, gentlemen. The gentleman from Washington is recognized. Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentleman from Alaska and I last year and a half ago, created the Congressional Working Group on the Arctic. We're trying to create some attention to the issues in the Arctic, which for many of us is out of sight and out of mind, but there's a lot going on up there. We can argue for the reasons why the ice cap, polar ice cap is melting, but the end result is that it's resulting in a lot more activity, not just from the U.S., but a lot of other countries as well. And over the last decade, even through the Armed Services Committee, we've been trying to get the Navy to pay more attention to protecting the water up there. We've been trying to get the Coast Guard to pay more attention to protecting the water, because it's our water off the northern slope of Alaska. And so this is just one more step to try to bring attention to this issue that we need to assert our sovereignty over water that is open and opening and belongs to the United States, because we are not the only country seeking to use resources, to learn from the environment, to even conduct tourism and economic development in the Arctic. So having that presence up there is very important for U.S. sovereignty, and this is just one more. This amendment just represents one more step in trying to find the best way to assert that sovereignty. So I'd encourage people, if they can, to support the gentleman from Alaska. Yield back.
Thank the gentleman. I support the revised amendment. Any other members wish to be heard? Seeing none. If not, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.